Hello, I'm Mary Pope Osborne, author of the Magic Treehouse series. Today I want to read 3 chapters from Magic Treehouse, number 29, A Big Day for Baseball. We'll start with chapter 2, but in chapter 1, Morgan leaves Jack and Annie a message. She leaves them 2 caps, baseball caps, and she says, "These caps are magic, made only for you, to give you the skill to know what to do. As long as you wear them, all others will see the skillful people you're pretending to be." Okay, so they land long time ago, 1947, at Ebbets Field in Brooklyn, New York, on April 15th. It's a famous day in baseball history, and you'll find out why. Chapter 2, Opening Day. A spring breeze blew into the treehouse. The sky was cloudy. "Hey, baseball uniforms," said Annie. Their clothes had magically changed. They were wearing baseball shoes, lawn socks, and baggy gray pants. Jack's backpack had turned into a leather bag. "Look at that," said Annie. She pointed at the word Bat Boy stitched on the front of their jerseys. "Oh, so we're going to be great Bat Boys," said Jack with a frown, "not great players." "Oh, don't worry," said Annie. "I'm sure Morgan thinks that being great bat boys will help us become great players." "But you can't be a bat boy," said Jack, "and there was no such thing as a bat girl back then." "Don't worry," said Annie. "If we wear these caps, remember, everyone will see what we're pretending to be." "Oh, right," said Jack. Annie and Jack picked up their caps and put them on. "Wow," Annie said with a big grin. "Yeah, wow," said Jack. He felt a surge of excitement and confidence. "I feel like I know everything about baseball now." "Me too," said Annie. "I can't wait to get to Ebbets Field," said Jack. "Let's go." He shoved the baseball book into his backpack. Then he led the way down the rope ladder. Jack and Annie stepped onto the ground. They landed in a small grove of trees. Nearby were stone benches and a fountain. Children were playing on the grass and walkways. "Looks like a city park," said Jack. "Let's ask directions," said Annie. As they headed toward the kids, a gust of wind blew through the park. "Watch out," said Jack, grabbing his cap. Annie held onto her cap, too. "We can't lose these," she said. "No kidding," said Jack. They passed a man playing guitar and singing in Spanish. They passed some girls playing jacks. They passed a group of noisy kids shooting marbles. "Hey, 2 bat boys," one of the kids shouted. The others looked up and waved at Jack and Annie. Annie smiled at Jack. "See, they think I'm a boy," she said. "The magic's working." "Cool," said Jack with a grin. "You look the same to me, though." "And you look the same to me," said Annie. "Maybe we always look like our true selves to each other." Annie turned back to the kids playing marbles. "Excuse me, how do we get to Ebbets Field?" she called. "That way," shouted one of the bigger kids. He pointed across the park. "When you get to this street, it's just a few blocks east." "You'd better hurry," yelled a small girl. "The game starts at 2:30. "What time is it now?" Jack called. One of the boys looked at his watch. "It's 1:30, he shouted. "Oh man, we're late," said Jack. "We should have been there at 1 o'clock to start our chores. Run, fast," said Annie. She and Jack held onto their caps and they began running across the windy park. Bat boys, wait for us," someone shouted. And here's an illustration, it's wonderful, of Jack and Annie with the kids in the park playing with marbles. And this illustration is by A.G. Ford. And Jack and Annie are being yelled at by one of the kids, and they're in the park. You see them with their baseball caps on and their kind of older-fashioned baseball outfits. Jack and Annie looked back. The 2 smallest kids from the marbles game were scrambling after them. Jack thought the boy and girl looked about 6 years old. "Sorry, we have to hurry," Jack yelled. "But we can help you," the girls said. "We know a shortcut." "You do?" said Annie. "Yes," said the boy. "We go to Ebbets Field a lot. This way." The small kids turned and started down a dirt path. Annie and Jack ran after them. "What are your names?" the girl called. "Jack and Andy," Annie yelled back. "What's yours?" "I'm Olive," said the girl. "This is my twin brother, Otis." Twins, cool, said Annie. It's a big day for baseball, said Otis. That's what we hear, said Jack. I wish we could be bat boys like you, said Otis. We know all the rules, said Olive. The twins led the way to a busy street at the edge of the park. Old-fashioned cars rattled down the broad avenue. The huge cars had long rounded hoods and lots of shiny silver chrome. Another illustration you see here is old Brooklyn with the old-fashioned cars and the buildings, and Jack and Annie with Otis and Olive. Alongside the cars, a trolley clattered over the tracks. Jack and Annie stood at the corner with the twins and waited for the light to change. Nearby, a newsstand was selling the Brooklyn Eagle. Jack read a headline, "Opening day at Ebbets Field, Brooklyn Dodgers versus Boston Braves." "Annie, look," he said, pointing at the newspaper. "We'll be working at a big league game." "Big league? Wow," said Annie. "You didn't know that?" said Olive. "I thought the Braves were from Atlanta," Annie said to Jack, "and the Dodgers from L.A." "Not in 1947, said Jack. "You didn't know that?" asked Otis. "Lights red, let's go," yelled Jack. "Hold hands," cried Olive. She grabbed Annie's hand and Otis grabbed Jack's. "Watch out for the trolley." Jack and Annie ran with the twins across the avenue to the opposite corner. "Good job," said Otis. "Where now?" Jack asked breathlessly. "We'll take you," said Olive. "Run." "Thanks," said Jack. He liked the friendly kids. Jack and Annie held onto their caps as they ran against the wind. They followed Otis and Olive down one street, then another. "Turn at the corner," said Olive. They all turned onto a busy, crowded street. "There," the twins said together. In front of them was the tall brick building of a stadium. The word Ebbets Field curved around the wall. A huge crowd was headed inside. And there's the old Ebbets Field Stadium in 1947. "Yay," said Annie, panting. "Thanks for showing us a shortcut, guys." "We're not there yet. Come on," said Olive. "It's a big day for baseball," said Otis again. "A really big day." Chapter 3, Take Me Out to the Ball Game. The twins led Jack and Annie to the entrance of the stadium. They all joined in the crowd streaming into a huge round lobby. The room had marble walls and a ceiling lamp made of baseball bats. A sign over the ticket windows said, $1, general admission. "Uh-oh," said Jack. He and Annie reached into the pockets of their uniforms. "We don't have money," said Annie. "We don't either," said Otis, "but we don't need it because Bat Boys!" A tall man in a uniform rushed over to them. His badge said security guard. "That's us," said Jack. "You're late," said the guard. "The manager of the visitors' clubhouse is looking everywhere for you. Get over there." "Yes, sir." Jack knew just what the guard meant. The visitors' clubhouse was the place in the stadium where the out-of-town team prepared for the game. "Wait, can our two friends come watch the game for free?" said Annie. "They helped us." "Of course not," said the guard. "Everyone has to pay, unless they're part of the game. Come on." The guard headed to a turnstile. "Sorry, we can't help you," Jack said to the twins. "Don't worry, we always watch from Bedford Avenue," Otis said. "We lie on the sidewalk and peek under the gate," Olive whispered. "We can see most of center field from there," said Otis, "and a little bit of left field." "Hey, Bat Boys!" the guard shouted. "Gotta go," said Jack. "Thanks a lot." "Yeah, thanks a million," said Annie. She and Jack hurried through the turnstile and followed the guard. Then they crossed a ramp and headed into the ballpark. "You're working for the Braves," the guard said. "I'll get the clubhouse manager. Wait here." And he walked away. "Oh, man," Jack breathed as he and Annie looked around. Compared to the Little League ballpark back home, Ebbets Field was huge. Fans were filling the stands. A band was playing Take Me Out to the Ball Game. The breezy air smelled of roasting peanuts, hot dogs, and grilled onions. On the field, umpires in dark suits were talking to each other. Around the baseball diamond, team members were playing catch. The men all wore jerseys with blue letters that spelled Dodgers. "Look at the Dodgers Bat Boys," said Annie. "They're helping their team warm up." "Those Bat Boys look twice our age," said Jack. I know, said Annie, but our caps must make everyone see us as teenagers too. That's so incredible, said Jack, smiling. He loved looking older. He loved working for a big league game. He loved the sights, sounds, and smells of Ebbets Field. The fans are really dressed up, said Annie. In the stands, the men and boys wore suits and hats. The women and girls wore dresses, jackets, and white gloves. It was really different from Frog Creek. At the ballpark at home, grown-ups and kids wore jeans, shorts, and sweatpants. Jack noticed something else that was different from Frog Creek. Here, half the stands were filling up with mostly white people. The other half were filling up with mostly black people. At home, people of all colors sat together. Annie pointed to a black Dodgers player signing autographs on baseballs. Who's he? She said. And here's the player who's signing the baseballs that Jack and Annie see on Ebbets Field. Black fans were shouting and waving at the player. Reporters were trying to interview him. A photographer was taking pictures. I don't know, he must be a big star, said Jack. Hey, Bat Boys, you're late, someone shouted. Jack and Annie whirled around. A short, wiry man was striding toward them. He must be the manager of the visitors' clubhouse, Jack thought. You've only got 40 minutes, the man roared. The Braves will be here any moment. Their trunks have just been delivered from the station. He pointed at the door of the clubhouse. Go inside and get to work. Yes, sir, said Jack and Annie. Without another word, they hurried inside the visitors' clubhouse and they got to work. One more chapter. Good job, boys. Chapter 4. Jack and Annie knew exactly what to do. Jack felt like he'd been a bat boy all his life. He hung his bag on a hook. Then he and Annie headed for the equipment trunks lined up near the door. They started with a trunk labeled uniforms. They opened the lid. They pulled out white jerseys with red letters that spelled Braves. Together, they swiftly hung up all the uniforms in a row of lockers. They finished just as the Braves arrived. All the men laughed and joked with each other as they spilled into the clubhouse. No one spoke to Jack or Annie, though. In fact, no one even looked at them. Jack and Annie paid no attention to the team either. Their magic caps helped them know the rules. Bat boys never bother the players. They never get in their way. Next, Jack opened an equipment trunk labeled cleats and helmets. He and Annie pulled out baseball shoes and batting gear. They used rags to wipe everything off. Then they quickly lined up the shoes on benches. Jack and Annie hurried to a trunk labeled bats. Together they pushed the trunk out of the visitors' clubhouse and toward the ball field. Yikes, look at the time, said Annie. She pointed to a large clock over the scoreboard. We have only 20 minutes till the game starts. And lots more to do, said Jack. Full speed. They pushed the trunk over to the visitors' dugout under the stands. Then they raced. Well, I'll show you the picture before I turn the page. There, Jack and Annie going into the trunk to get out all the baseball equipment in the clubhouse. And they got their magic caps on, so they know exactly what to do. Then they raced against the clock. They flew through the rest of their tasks. Jack quickly unloaded bats from the trunk. He handed them to Annie. She placed them on the shelves of a bat rack inside the dugout. They dashed back to the visitors' clubhouse and unloaded another trunk. They pulled out a first aid kit, shin guards, a catcher's mitt and mask, and boxes of chewing gum. They carried all these things to the Braves' dugout. By now, the home team, the Brooklyn Dodgers, had left the field. The visiting Boston Braves had started their warm-up. The noise in the ballpark was deafening. The stands were full. Hey, Bat Boys, a girl yelled. Get us an autographed ball, a boy yelled. Jack looked up. Kids were shouting at them from the stands. An autographed ball, please, please. Sorry, yelled Annie. Jack shook his head. They both knew the rule. Bat boys never do favors for fans. Jack and Annie hurried back into the clubhouse. They unloaded towels from a trunk. They filled jugs with water from a sink. They packed baseballs into a canvas bag. Then they carried everything to the dugout and put it in all the right places. Uniforms, cleats, shin guards, masks, said Annie. Water, first aid kit, bats, towels, baseballs, chewing gum, said Jack. Anything else? Nope, we did it, said Annie, looking at the clock. It was 2:25. The game would start in 5 minutes. Good job, boys, said the clubhouse manager as he passed by. Thanks, said Annie. Jack and Annie quickly took their seats on the bench in the dugout. The Boston Braves players sat near them, looking tense. Some scowled and folded their arms. Others chewed gum or tapped their feet. A voice came over the loudspeaker. "Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem." The crowd stood. The players stepped out of the dugout and placed their baseball caps over their hearts. Oh, no, thought Jack. He and Annie couldn't take their caps off. If they did, everyone would see them as young kids and see Annie as a girl. Annie took Jack's arm. She pulled him back into a shadowy area inside the dugout. There they placed only their hands over their hearts. Jack desperately hoped none of the players would turn around and notice them. A man sang the Star-Spangled Banner in a rich, deep voice. "Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming?" Jack nervously kept his eyes on the flag flapping in the breeze. Hurry, hurry, he thought. Finally, the singer sang the last lines. "Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave?" The national anthem was over. The players all put their caps back on. "Play ball!" roared an umpire at home plate. "Phew!" Jack said to Annie, and they stepped out from the dugout. Noise filled the park. Fans cheering, horns honking, bells clanging. "See ya," said Annie. "Yup," said Jack. They both knew exactly what to do. Annie was in charge of bats. She ran to the batting circle. She knelt on the ground, ready to pick up the bats the players dropped at home plate. Jack was in charge of baseballs. He hauled the canvas bag over to a stool near the edge of the diamond. He sat down. A strong breeze gusted over Ebbets field. Jack pulled his cap down firmly on his head. Then he leaned forward to watch the game. His heart was racing. Now the hard part begins, he thought. And that is a big day for baseball. I'm so glad you joined us today for the reading.